What if you lived in ancient Egypt, waking each morning beside the Nile, where survival depended on the rising sun?
What if you lived in ancient Egypt, surrounded by fertile lands on one side and deadly desert on the other, shaping every choice?
What if you lived in ancient Egypt, waiting each year as the Nile's flood decided whether your family would eat or starve?
What if you lived in ancient Egypt, spending long days farming under the scorching sun, shaping the land that fed your people?
What if you lived in ancient Egypt, watching your crops sway in the wind as a sign that the gods still favored your harvest?
You lived in ancient Egypt, inside mud brick homes built for shade and survival, where comfort was rare but life endured? Life in ancient Egypt often centered on family, where sharing simple meals brought comfort and connection despite the harsh world outside. Clothing in ancient Egypt was simple yet purposeful, made from lightweight linen to endure the desert heat, while jewelry displayed status and identity.
In the marketplaces of ancient Egypt, people traded goods, bartered skillfully. Life in ancient Egypt was defined by rigid social classes, where peasants labored under the watchful eyes of the privileged elite.
Scribes held power in ancient Egypt, mastering hieroglyphs that allowed them to record history, communicate with gods, and influence society.
Education in ancient Egypt was a privilege for the few, teaching literacy and record-keeping to shape the next generation of scribes and leaders.
To vital signs. In ancient Egypt, gods shaped every part of life, from daily routines to monumental decisions.
Priests in ancient Egypt performed rituals to maintain harmony between gods and people, acting as the vital bridge between mortal and divine. The pharaoh ruled as both king and living god, commanding obedience and respect, embodying the political and spiritual heart of ancient Egypt. Temples in ancient Egypt were centers of devotion and power, where priests performed rituals to honor gods and sustain cosmic order.
Hieroglyphs were more than writing. They recorded history, conveyed divine messages, and preserved the knowledge of ancient Egypt for generations.
Ancient Egyptian healers combined herbs, minerals, and observation to treat ailments.
Trade along the Nile connected towns and cities, exchanging grain, crafts, and luxury goods, forming the backbone of Egypt's economy. Death in ancient Egypt was seen as a passage to another world.
Constructing the pyramids demanded immense effort, ingenuity, and coordination, reflecting both human skill and devotion to the pharaohs. Life for pyramid workers was demanding, yet community, routine, and shared purpose brought a sense of resilience and belonging. Food and agriculture were the lifeblood of ancient Egypt, with the Nile's bounty sustaining communities and shaping daily routines.
Religious festivals in ancient Egypt united communities, combining music, dance, and ritual to honor the gods and ensure prosperity.
Monumental statues symbolized eternal power, preserving the image of gods and rulers long after mortal lives had ended. Society followed strict order, where birth defined status, placing rulers above priests, craftsmen, farmers, and servants. Law aimed to preserve balance, where truth, order, and fairness were believed to reflect the will of the gods.
Family life centered on work, meals, and tradition, forming the foundation of stability within ancient Egyptian society. Clothing reflected climate and status, where simple linen or fine jewelry revealed wealth, role, and identity. Music and entertainment offered relief from labor, bringing joy, rhythm, and social connection to daily life. Soldiers protected borders and trade routes, defending Egypt's wealth, stability, and royal authority. Boats controlled the Nile, enabling transport, trade, warfare, and communication across the kingdom.
Foreign trade expanded Egypt's wealth, bringing rare materials, new ideas, and influence from distant lands. By studying stars and seasons, Egyptians tracked time, guided farming, and aligned monuments with the heavens.
Egyptians measured time with shadow, star, and moon, creating calendars that structured both work and ritual life.
Engineering and technology allowed Egyptians to build monumental structures, blending skill, innovation, and practical physics.
Religious symbols and artifacts embodied divine power, guiding rituals and reminding Egyptians of the gods' presence.
Education in ancient Egypt trained scribes who preserved knowledge, recorded history, and maintained administration. Jewelry and clothing signified wealth, status, and identity, reflecting both taste and divine favor in daily life. Religious ceremonies united communities, honoring gods and ensuring harmony between the earthly and divine realms.
Inside pyramids, narrow corridors and chambers safeguarded the dead, preserving treasures and guiding the soul to eternity.
Mummification preserved the body for eternity, blending ritual precision with belief in the soul's journey beyond death.
Funerary goods accompanied the dead, ensuring comfort, sustenance, and protection in the journey to the afterlife.
Temples served as the heart of worship, where Egyptians connected with gods through ritual, prayer, and sacred ceremonies.
The pharaoh's court embodied power, law, and divine authority, guiding the kingdom and overseeing all aspects of life.
Temple rituals connected people to the divine, combining music, incense, and offerings to honor the gods.
Pyramids rose through ingenuity, combining ramps, levers, and human strength in perfectly coordinated effort. Hieroglyphics recorded law, history, and belief, preserving knowledge for generations and connecting mortals to the divine. The Nile's waters sustained crops, guiding irrigation and shaping the rhythm of life and labor in Egypt.
Daily diets combined bread, vegetables, fish, and beer, reflecting both sustenance and cultural tradition.
Egyptian medicine relied on herbs, practical treatments, and spiritual rituals to heal both body and spirit.
Festivals brought communities together, celebrating gods, harvests, and shared cultural traditions with music and dance.
The Nile shaped Egypt's life, providing water, fertile soil, transportation, and a foundation for civilization.
Homes were built from mud brick, arranged around courtyards, reflecting family life, community, and practical needs.
Common Egyptians wore practical linen clothing, suited to the climate, work, and daily activities of village life.
Egyptians believed gods controlled nature, fate, and life, guiding their actions through worship and devotion. Belief in the afterlife guided rituals, burial practices, and moral behavior, ensuring safe passage beyond death.
The legacy of ancient Egypt endures through monuments, knowledge, and cultural achievements that shaped civilization.
Living in ancient Egypt connected humanity to the Nile, the gods, and the legacy of a civilization that continues to inspire.